Welcome to Filmology. I'm Ariana, and I apologize for the weird screen thing and layout and stuff. I don't know what that's called. Set? It's not really a set. That's still my bedroom. Um, because I really wanted to do this review without editing it, and I can't do that if I film it on my camera. So I'm filming it on my computer, as you can see by the laptop screen on my. Oh, that's the window on my glasses. Oh, anyway, yeah. So you can see the window through my glasses, and I apologize for that. But I'm gonna talk about Star Trek today. Star Trek! Yeah, I just saw Star Trek Beyond a couple of days ago, and you know, it's my dog. Yeah, I want to talk about it because if you've ever met me, if you follow me on Twitter, if you've ever heard me speak about anything, if you know me in any way, shape, or form, you probably know that I hate Star Trek Beyond. No, Star Trek Into Darkness with like the most strength I've ever hated anything. Like I hate that film. It's terrible. I haven't watched Star Trek for 3 years because that film angered me so much. It's not a Star Trek film. It's a terrible, terrible film. It ruined The Wrath of Khan, which is the best Star Trek film, and it really made me untrustworthy of J.J. Abrams and anyone involved in the making of that film. I actually wasn't too excited about Star Wars because of Star Trek Into Darkness because I thought he can't make a film that I'm gonna like. He made that shithole. So, but Star Wars is great. So, I was like, okay, should be fine. And then Simon Pegg was set to write the film, which made me a little bit more hopeful, a little bit, because I love Simon Pegg, I love Spaced, I love all the Cornetto trilogy films, I love Paul. So I thought, if if no, if if someone's gonna do it right, it's gonna be him. And then Roberto Orsi left the directorial helm, which is already like a big improvement because fuck that guy, he's a terrible, terrible, terrible writer, terrible. So the trailer started coming out. I watched them. I thought, okay, that looks pretty interesting. And then I went to see it, and holy shit, I love that film. Okay, I love Star Trek Beyond. It's amazing. It's so good. It's like I was not expecting it to feel like a Star Trek film because the reboot films never feel like Star Trek films, but it feels like a Star Trek movie. So if you don't want spoilers, you might want to leave this review behind for now. I like the film and I recommend it. Bye. But yeah, I'm just gonna spoil it for you. I don't like if you've seen the film, then you know. If you don't care about spoilers, then you know. Keep at it. Join me in this conversation. But yeah, so it was it was such a good film. I don't know where to begin. I guess I was talking how it feels like a Star Trek film, and it does. It absolutely does. Um, and there's one scene where it's exactly like a Star Wars film. Like there's this scene when they're flying the Franklin for the first time, and it's like it's coming out and it's like dropping, and Mr. Sulu's like, "Rah!" And everyone's like, "Mr. Sulu, fly the ship!" And then the ship flies and it goes, and I heard the Star Wars theme in my head. I was like, da 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 da, but that was fine. I didn't mind it because the film had won me over by that point. It was like an hour and 20 minutes into the film, so I didn't care. I was like, okay, that's fine. That's good. I like Star Wars anyway, so that was fine. But yeah, no, the whole film was just really fun. It was a fun film. It didn't have any weird bully creatures in it, like Khan in Star Trek Into Darkness, who's like the most annoying villain of any villain because he's just a fucking just he's such a douche. He's such a douchebag. He's such a bully. They turned Khan into a bully. What the fuck? Paramount, whoever, J.J. Abrams, Roberto Orsi, and Alex Kurtzman, you bastards. It's fine. I forgive J.J. Abrams. I have not forgiven Alex Kurtzman or Roberto Orsi. They can go suck a million dicks. All I care. But that's irrelevant. Um, it was Simon Pegg and Doug Jones who made this, so you know they're good. And Jay, stop making noises. But point is, so why this film is so great? First of all, they pay homage to Leonard Nimoy without making it too mushy and too like tacked in. It just feels really fluid and it fits into the film, and it's really beautiful and really moving, especially at the end when Spock finds like he opens the little case thing with all of his things and he takes out this photograph of the old Enterprise crew with you know Sulu, Chekhov, and Uhura and everyone, and it's really moving. Like I legit teared up a little bit. I was just seeing them, like them, you know, they're looking so happy and with their little clothes, and just like, oh, you guys. So that was really moving, and that was something that I think you couldn't have done if the people who made the film weren't fans of Star Trek. And that's why it feels more like a Star Trek film than the previous two, because the people who made the film love Star Trek, and the people who made Star Trek '09 and Into Darkness did not love Star Trek. You know, you could tell that they weren't into it. Even like Carl Urban, who's like a massive Star Trek fan, you could tell he wasn't into the film because it's not a film for Star Trek fans. It's just a film, it's just a movie. And Carl Urban was just going at it in this film, like he's giving it his all. Like all of the crew members have a moment, and that's what's the best thing about this film is that not only does Kirk have a purpose, that is a purpose that has evolved from the first movie instead of being a reset from the movie. It's like Into Darkness like resets everything from the previous film, and it's like, okay, we need to continue. We need to like do the character development again. You know, in this film, Kirk is mature. He knows what he's doing. He's been a captain for a while. He has a routine. He's like the original Kirk. And Spock as well. He has his Vulcan thing, and he's bound to his Vulcan duties. But you know, he's also his humans. He's struggling with his human side as well. And Bones is sassy, but he's also doing his job and he's helping Kirk and is giving advice to Kirk, which is something that happened in the original series. So that's something that they're doing in this film. Jay, stop coughing. What are you doing? But anyway, yeah. So it's like all of the three main characters. They have evolved and they have developed, and the film picks up from the end of 2000 to 2009. It doesn't even mention Into Darkness. Like it's like that film never happened, which is good because that was a terrible ending. With the blood, it's so stupid. I hate that film so much. But you know, and it picks up from it doesn't pick up from when they left up, but it feels like an evolution of how it ended. You know, with Kirk in the captain's chair, and I thought that was like, you know, story wise, that was a really good way to do this because they could have gone like they could have gone the Into Darkness way. They could have gone the sequel way, where you just tell the same story again but a little bit different. You know, the Ghostbusters 2 way or the Ghostbusters reboot way. But instead, they're exploring new worlds, seeking out new life forms and civilizations, and they're really taking to heart what Star Trek means. You know, and I think that's really cool. And there's no talk of like prime directives, none of that bullshit. There's none of like, you know, destroying the Earth. Ah. The villain is someone that you can sort of understand, not really understand, but he has like a viable, understandable reason. You know, like, and he's played by Idris Elba, which I thought was gonna be like the thing that they do with really good black actors, where they hire them in movies, they cast them in movies, and then they just do mocap, and it's like it's not really a black actor anymore because he's just a guy doing mocap. But no, it makes sense. Like you totally understand what he's doing, and by the end of it, which was slightly predictable, I admit, because I kind of thought that's what's gonna be like. he's human. He's a human man, and I get it, but it's like the Star Wars thing. Like, it doesn't matter because the film has won you over by that point. So it's pointless that the story is predictable because there's so many great things that happen within the story. So like minor plot details being predictable isn't really something that matters. So that was really good. The villain was really fun. I enjoyed it a lot. They had really great set pieces with the villain, like fight scenes that didn't go over too long. Like the end of the film is basically one long chase fight scene, but the timing and the momentum are just they flow so well that it's not tiring. You're never tired of the film. You just want to keep going. And there's some really really fantastic callbacks to the original series and to also the 2009 one, like the song "Sabotage" by the Beastie Boys. Best part of the film. Best part of the film. So good. So yeah, I really really liked these main bits, but overall, the film also used the characters. They used their characters that they had really well. Not only were crew members of the Enterprise part of what was happening, it wasn't just about the core bits, the core people. It's about everyone. So everyone had something to do, especially the main characters. And there's this big, like, controversial thing about Sulu being gay, which wasn't tacked on either. It just happened to be something that happened in the film, and that was like giving Sulu a family was something that was so smart. Not even in terms of like gay, straight, whatever. It just giving him a family was so smart because they met the family in the space station, and you see Sulu hugging him and his daughter, and it's like, okay, we have a person in that space station that we care about. So when everything goes to shit, we care about the safety of those people. That was really clever because like so many times you get like the earth exploding and a building blowing up and shit happening everywhere. But if there's not a character that you care about in that location, then you're not gonna care what happens to that location. But because we had the character, and every time something happened, like there's gonna be something going on, and they had like a reaction shot from Sulu, and you could see that he was like worried about his family, and that was a really clever thing to do because he gave the film more of an emotional pull because you were worried about Sulu's family, and that was great. And they didn't really overdo the Spock Uhura romance. They gave her something to do that wasn't to do with the romance. Like, she had an actual character in this film. She was a badass. She and Sulu really, really, really showed how awesome Sulu and Uhura can be. They used their knowledge of languages and their knowledge of ships and their knowledge of science in general to help move the plot along. And they confronted the villain, and they had moments with other characters in the crew, and it was just a great way to like have different set pieces in different locations of the planet that you all care about, because you could be just like spaced out when there she is, little dog butt. You could have a lot of set pieces that you don't care about because you haven't known these characters, but because we know who these characters are, we know what they want, we know that they're gonna try to get out of that place, and they're all helping each other out, and they're all fighting for the same purpose, except they're in different locations. So it all comes together really well in a really perfect circular way. Um, so that was really nice. And then you have different group dynamics. You have Sulu and Uhura. You have Chekhov and Kirk. And Chekhov was so sweet, and it was just such a great way to remember Anton Yelchin. Because his performance as Chekhov was always really good. I always loved it, and the fact that he was there and he was like he had such a strong character representation in the film. Like, he was such a strong character in the film. He was an important character. He was a character that had, you know, things to do, and they had a backstory to him, and all of that really, really, made a sweeter, more even bittersweet experience watching this film and remembering Anton Yelchin as the amazing actor that he was. So that was really sweet, and he had great banter with Kirk, and their adventures together were really good. And up until when they found Scotty and Jayla. Jayla, who was a kick-ass character, really excited to meet this woman. She was great. She was a fantastic new character that I would not mind having back in the next Star Trek films, because in the end of the film, spoiler alert, I've already spoiler alerted, so whatever. But in the end of the film, she was accepted into the academy, so like I'd be perfectly happy to see her come back. She was a really strong character. She was really badass. She knew how to fight. She was really intelligent. She like fixed up a whole ship. She had a really good friendship with Scotty that I'm so happy did not evolve into a romance, because we don't need romance in Star Trek. It's unnecessary. Okay. So that fact was just really, really cool, and they had really good chemistry together. Um, it was just generally just a great film in terms of character set pieces as well. Like the relationship between Spock and Bones together was really cool. And it just, I think the script was just a really solid script. It was just really, really solid and fun. And it wasn't just about the drama, but it wasn't just about the gags and the fun times. And it had the plot and it followed the plot, but it also made sure that you were not bored or like sad or depressed throughout the whole thing. It didn't have some villain saying, "I will walk on your cold corpses," which is the worst. So bad. I hate Star Trek Into Darkness so much. It was like a billion gazillion times better than Star Trek Into Darkness. It was so much better than 2009 as well. Like, it was better than '09 for sure. But because it builds on it, like if you want to make a sequel, make it better than the original. Make it building on what the original gave you. And this film does that. It builds upon what '09 did by having the characters, like they have callbacks to Spock's mom, to Kirk's parents, and it's just overall, it's a much more solid, structurally sound plot. It's just really good, and it looks great. All the locations are very different. They're very unique, and it's just a really fun film that I think we've been missing. There's no things aren't fun anymore. It's just not fun. It's just boring, and like those awful Avengers movies are just like they're replacing fun with sassy characters when that's not fun. There's just some guy being sarcastic. I don't give a shit about that. This is like fun actions. Fun action pieces that have a purpose and that lead the plot along, that are fun to watch and they don't get boring. It was just a really, really, really fun film, and I could not recommend it more. I was just so happy to see it. I was so happy to see that it was as good as I hoped it would be, and I'm just so glad that there are like so many women working, or like being main character, like working as main characters in the film. So many characters, like secondary characters, coming together, and everyone has something to do, and there's no nonsense of like mega villain who wants to kill Earth because reasons from past stuff, and it's just the villain has his ideals, and his ideals make sense, and he's got a really cool backstory that links to the character's present predicaments, So yeah, it's a really fun film, and I'm really happy that they made this. Justin Liu and Doug Jung and Simon Pegg. So happy that they made this. I'm so happy that as a Star Trek fan that I get to see this and that I get to enjoy it. And yeah, thank you for watching. I'll be back soon.